This is the KoperCrabb Podcast.
I'm Chaney Crab.
It's your old pal, Navene Copperwise here.
Good evening or good morning or good night to all golden lobsters and lobsterettes and those of you who have yet to opt into the lobster program. If you would like to submit a question for the podcast, you can, of course, email us at KoperCrabbPodcast@gmail.com, or you can participate in the newly implemented call-in program.
Hotline.
The hotline.
Golden Lobster Hotline.
The GLH, if you will. And you can call into that at 615-420-7342.
And also, we do have some tour dates coming up. Our band, ENTHEOS.
That's right. If you don't know...
It's like a Midwest to East Coast run. Not a full run. It's 9 days. Chaney, you want to fill us in on the details there?
Yeah, we discussed last week whether or not we could really... This is called a run, not a tour. And it starts on July...
Hold on, who else is it with?
It's with Oceano and Worm Shepherd, and it starts July 29th in...
I did know that, by the way. I just wanted you to read it off.
I don't know. Did you remember that?
I knew that.
It starts July 29th in West Chicago, Illinois at West Chicago Social Club. The 30th, Minneapolis at Skyway Theater. 31st, Indianapolis at Emerson Theater. We have a day off we're probably going to be swimming or, hanging out in a hotel room is the harsh reality of what we're going to be doing.
Is that harsh or is that beautiful?
The real reality of what we're going to be doing on August 1st. Then August 2nd, Frederick, Maryland at Cafe 611. August 3rd, Pittsburgh at Preserving Underground. The 4th in Albany, New York at Empire Underground. 5th, Horseheads, New York at the L. August 6th, Brooklyn, New York at the Meadows. And it wraps up the 7th in Columbus at Ace of Cups. So come out to a show. Cups. We should put the link to tickets in the description.
I don't think we've been doing that.
Yeah, we should do that.
But something that we have been doing is we have been putting the link for the ENTHEOS merch in our description.
Yeah.
And you guys have been ordering merch. And we know it's you guys because we have not advertised, I don't think, anywhere else that we have stuff in our store right now.
No, so if you want to grab something, go pick it up from the store at the link in our comments. If you go to the Big Cartel, that's the one that we ship from ourselves. If you go to Night Shift, you get it from Night Shift merch in
and we did
Florida.
we've made a newly addition to the house, which is a shipping center.
Yeah, we do have we call it a WeWork studio.
Yeah, we made it look kind of clean.
And the reason we call it that is because we watched this documentary about a company called WeWork. And the whole documentary is framed to make this company look bad. And it uses really
suspenseful, bad music, and I'm like, why are they bad?
Wait a minute, why am I supposed to hate this guy? Because he came up with a genius concept.
Which I don't really remember the concept. But,
I believe the WeWork, so it's like an office that you can work out of, I think. You can rent it. It's a rental space. I don't know, but long story short, there's still one in Nashville, and we've driven by it several times. So the documentary did not take down the company.
Because every time we pass it, I'm like, whoa, WeWork, that's awesome.
Nice try, documentary.
So we wanted to make our own little WeWork studio in the house, and it kind of worked out because we have one of those, it would be one of those rooms that nobody goes in a house. Which is not a California thing, by the way. This is, sorry, California people. This is Midwest.
This is what people
further.
Do with large plots of.
Yeah, when you have space, there's a room that no one goes in.
When you have over 500 square feet in your house,
and
there may be an extra room.
And less than 4 adults live there.
Renting it out one room for $1,700 per.
Yeah, oh man.
But I
don't miss that.
So we had
this room and we didn't really know what to do with it. And we were like, let's make it a chill hippie room. And then we realized that would just not get used.
Yeah, because it's a huge room.
Yeah.
It's a really big
biggest
room.
Probably one of the bigger rooms in the house.
Yeah. So we needed it to go towards something, and that's what we did with it.
But up until that point, it had
all of our stuff in it.
Just crap in it. It was a storage room.
It was a storage room because that's something they never tell you about moving into a house is that, first of all, I mean, maybe everyone does say this. Moving fucking sucks in the first place.
It sucks. Yeah. Moving cross country is really something else.
Yeah, and it takes you a while to get the house set up.
Yes.
Depending on what state you move into the house in, I guess. We moved everything ourselves. We didn't have movers. We're not like...
We're the movers.
We're not fucking...
Well, Evan came over and helped out.
Yeah, so I guess Evan was our mover.
Unpaid mover.
But, we're not like royalty, so we couldn't afford the...
Well, we spent...
Someone was telling us the other day about how rich people... I think Evan was telling us this. That he's been in houses where people will have movers, and not only do they have movers, but they provide pictures of how everything in their last house was set up. So they'll have a drawer, and they open a drawer and take a picture of it, and their toilet paper will be here and toothpaste here. And they have an exact replica of that in a picture, and they replicate it when they get there.
Doesn't that seem like it takes the fun out of moving?
Are they replicate?
Replicate.
Okay, yeah.
Doesn't that seem like it takes the fun out of moving to you?
I think it would put the fun in moving.
Really? Because I mean,
fun.
I like the idea of moving in and it's kind of a new thing.
I could go with just the movers, not the photographs of everything. I'm okay with things not being in the same place, but just having a mover. I think you learned a really hard lesson in moving that I
certainly
did ahead of time, which is that I labeled all of my boxes and put everything together, but Navene kind of did I'll remember where I put everything and didn't organize at all.
I actually, dude, okay, so we moved 6 months ago. Almost
7.
No, it's 6 months to the day.
Oh, wow.
No, 7.
Mm-hmm.
7 months to the day, like a week ago. Because we moved on the 23rd. Right? December?
To January.
That's 1.
To February, March, April, May, June. That's 6 months. Okay. So half a year we've been in Nashville.
And we're just now getting unpacked, I'd say.
So being here for 6 months, do you have any cons that you've noticed about? What is better about California? Let's be honest.
Okay, should we straight talk?
Yeah.
Nashville to California?
Yeah. In case you're thinking of moving.
Yeah. I was actually, dude, it's funny. I was thinking this would be a really good YouTube video. It's not my brand, obviously, but...
I mean, you can make it your brand.
Well, I don't know. My brand is drumming, but we could do it on the podcast. I was thinking this would be a really good video. I moved from California to Nashville 6 months ago.
Here
is the deal. Because a lot of people are thinking of moving from California right now.
That's true.
And
to Nashville specifically.
Exactly.
A lot of people are moving here. I know Austin is another place they're moving. It seems like people are trying to move to South Carolina too.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of places. Asheville is one.
But anyway,
that's South Carolina.
So there are actually some things that are better about California. Surprise. There are pros and cons for sure.
Pros and cons. When we first moved here, I was like, man, this, well, I still think it's awesome. But
I love Nashville. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here's the long story short. Yeah. I'm not trying to move back to California.
Mm-mm.
However, there are some things.
So when we first moved, I'm pretty much just only thinking of the pros, and it was the middle of winter, mind you.
Yeah.
So I was like, hey, I can deal with this, whatever. There's a little bit of snow. It's colder. It's straight up colder here, right, in the winter. Then we lived in Santa Cruz, which is technically northern. I don't know. It's middle to northern California. So it never really gets that hot and it never really gets that cold. I'd say it's a range between 40 degrees to 70 on average.
Yeah, and sometimes the 30s happen. I remember there were nights when I would be driving home at midnight and it would
get cold.
There would be a little bit of snow.
Some ice.
Ice. That was really rare. And it would get hot, but it was rare that it got so hot that you felt like you needed to go swimming.
Yeah. So I have probably said this on the podcast before. I freaking love summer. I'm a summer guy. Love it. So it would fucking piss me off in Santa Cruz that it would never really get that hot. But okay. So the pros and cons of moving to Nashville. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Okay. So the pros right off the bat were it's way cheaper here. People are friendly here.
Friendlier.
Yeah. For sure. Things are just a little more down to earth, I've noticed. Politics and stuff aren't really as in your face as the Bay Area. So that's cool for me. I like things to just be kind of calm. And granted, we live outside of Nashville. We don't live in Nashville. We live about 20 minutes away. So those are great things. There's a lot of really good places to eat. I mean, a ton of places to eat. There's a freaking crazy sick bar and party scene. Are you kidding me? It's amazing.
I mean, there are so many live bands playing at any given point, any given time in Nashville year round.
Yeah, not only that, so we lived in Santa Cruz, which is an hour and a half south of San Francisco. So shows didn't really go through there a whole lot. And now that we live here, I mean, Nashville is sort of it's a stop on tours.
Absolutely.
So we've been going to a lot more shows.
That's for metal and any other kind of music and comedy. Anything that you want to see as far as entertainment goes, there's more of it here. Because what you have to understand about Santa Cruz, if you've never been there, is I like to describe it as like a land island because it's separated from the next major city, which would be San Jose.
Right.
It's separated by a mountain. So in order to get to San Jose, there's one road and it's Highway 17. I mean, there are some back roads, but you're literally going through the mountains if you take the back roads. Highway 17 is a barge to get over. It's a dangerous road. It's incredibly windy.
You just said a Santa Cruz word.
A barge. Yeah. I knew that. It's a barge, dude. It's a total barge to get. And no one is driving to San Jose for a dinner.
Yeah, no, that's not happening.
If you do, it's your fucking anniversary. Yeah. Or it's someone's birthday.
Yeah, we have
and frankly
done that.
I get motion sickness very easily. So if I get kind of drunk in San Jose and I'm riding in someone's car back to Santa Cruz, I'm gonna puke.
Yeah.
It's not 100%. Fun. And I noticed this anytime I would go to San Francisco, I'd be dealing with a headache or not feeling 100% because I get motion sickness so badly. Yeah.
So, now it's 10 minutes to the highway, and then from the highway, probably, I don't know, another 10 into town.
Yeah, into town.
So it's really not a big deal.
So you feel like you live in a major city. Yeah. We do live in a major city.
We could go eat in Nashville, and it'd be a totally acceptable thing to do.
Yeah, have done that.
Have done it.
So there's all of that.
So that's really cool. Going to the shows, all that stuff.
There are a ton of people we know here. There are a ton of bands from here.
Yeah, huge friend group.
I mean, as we're describing everything, the cons that I'm going to say are minuscule compared to all of the...
I mean, it's cheaper. Pretty much everything here is cheaper. Straight up. That's a fact.
Unless you're looking downtown in the posh areas. Yeah. Because, country superstars and Nashville does have its fair share of rich people who can afford to pay a lot and want to live here because stuff happens here.
And there's trendy hipster areas, which stuff's not cheaper at all.
Totally.
So, okay. So those are all great things. I mean, we've talked about how great it is before. It's great. We love it here. Anyway,
I love this place.
So we're starting to notice some cons. Mm-hmm. One, sometimes the weather is a bit extreme.
Yeah, way extreme.
I mean, I think a week or so ago, it was well over 100 degrees.
Our cats didn't even want to go outside.
And I mean, it was like, whoa, you go outside and you're like, fuck, dude, this is... And I'm a summer guy, and I was like, holy crap, this is even hot for me.
It was to the point that I was feeling really bad for wildlife. There was a deer mom and a deer baby. What are those called? Kid? I have no idea. Bambi and Bambi's mom were here. And I was like, these deer need water.
Yeah.
So there's hella wildlife running around. And that's honestly another con that I was going to bring up. In California, wildlife is cute.
It's like a cute look at that.
Thing.
There's a deer over there.
Yeah, and if you see a deer, it's a magical unicorn that's oh my God, a deer? and you get out and try to take a picture with it and stuff. Here, nature is literally like
you're at
moving
war. You're at
in on
war
you.
with nature.
At war
all
with
the time.
nature.
So that brings us to con number 2. There is a incredible amount of bugs and animals and bushes, brambles, whatnot. I mean, it's just constantly trying to get into your zone.
It's also
constantly.
It's also fascinating because of the extreme weather. Like there can be extreme growth or the opposite of extreme growth with your lawn and your flowers. The lawn 2 weeks ago, our lawn was like overgrowing because it was raining so much.
Yeah.
That it was growing so quickly that Navene was having to mow like twice in a week. This week, it's essentially burnt to a crisp.
It's burnt to a crisp. But I mean, so with that, I kind of actually like doing the nature boy yard work and stuff.
Excuse me.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like I got up and cleaned the gutters and trimming bushes and all that stuff. It's pretty fun. I like it.
I like it too, but I like it when it's similar to what it is today, which is this week. With all this being said, this week it's been perfect.
See, that's the thing, dude.
So
Today
I don't know,
is like
maybe
freaking
all of our cons,
heaven.
all of our cons seem to be in the nature arena.
That's what it is.
And nature's pretty tight like a lot of the time because
So-
it was only so hot that 1 week.
Yeah. And then we had so the insects are okay.
Okay,
Whoa.
that's
It's
rough.
not like
Oh yeah, we had an issue.
we had an issue with the bushes out front are just fucking loaded with flies. I mean, loaded.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's fucking crazy.
It's rough.
So a couple of them got inside, or a few of them are going to get in. Not a big deal. But I'm pretty sure they laid some eggs somewhere. And I think I know where it was. Like, I don't ever use the garbage disposal thing. I don't know.
What are garbage disposals for? If someone can tell me in the comments, like, why, I know what they're for, but honestly, it seems fucking pointless because I feel like it's just shoving shredded up food into your plumbing.
Yeah, I think
It's
that is
whack.
what it's doing. But anyway.
So just throw it away.
Yeah.
Compost it.
So I didn't grow up with one of those. So I never even turned it on. So
I did grow up with one and I still do not turn it on. I think it's gross to like dump food down your sink and let it sit there and let maybe a fucking fly infestation happen.
Well, okay.
It's gross.
So look,
Let's
if
take it
you're
out.
using it all the time, there's no food in there. It gets pushed down
sucked
with the
out.
water. But I never use it. So I like took the cover thing off and it was like, oh, it was disgusting in there. Right? So I like poured a bunch of soap and bleach and like ran it with the water on, and now it's like clean in there.
Have you ever had to reach your hand into a garbage disposal to pull something out, and then there's that like lingering fear that something is gonna, like a fly is gonna come over and turn on the handle, and your hand's gonna get shredded up?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think about that every single time I'm near it.
So yeah.
But anyways,
so
looks like we really like Nashville.
Anyway, long story short, a bunch of freaking flies we were overrun with flies. It was really gross. It fucking bummed me out. It was disgusting. But they appear to be gone now.
Got him.
Got most of them.
Got him.
Of various methods to get rid of them.
Fly.
So now they're kind of gone. So I'm thinking that's what it was.
All right.
So anyway, basically, I'd say the only downsides. Some people would say the beach. They really like the beach.
We do
But
live near a lake.
It's not really a downside for me.
We live near a lake. I don't like... The beach in Santa Cruz is so cold that like you're never really going there for fun. I mean, you can. In the summer, it's chill. Like there are cove areas where you can go and hang out and the weather is kind of like isolated.
Yeah.
But
for the most part, there's a sea breeze and it just bums me out.
Yeah,
I want
me
it to be
too.
hot.
I know.
So
Florida has the best beaches.
Well, okay. So California has the best beaches. The way they look amazing.
Yeah.
But they're not really hot enough to want to go swimming.
Also,
For
one
me,
time
personally.
in Southern California where it is hot enough to want to go swimming, I got out into the ocean and I'm not an experienced ocean swimmer.
Yeah.
And I almost got taken away by the tide. And Navene's brother had to save me and swim me back to shore.
Yeah, it's serious.
Because and it's no joke. If you've never swam in the ocean, it's fucking scary.
You got the riptide.
There was actually one time that me, you, and Sean all in the dark skinny dipped in
Florida. That was really fun.
And it was nighttime, and I had absolutely zero fear about what was in the ocean when that happened. It was so fun.
Well, Florida, those beaches are like tourist beaches, and they are way more calm. They don't have waves, really, or riptides.
I'm not sure that they have shark attacks as much as...
Well, sharks like cold water.
Well. Yeah. In Santa Cruz, there were shark attacks while we lived there.
See, I'm not going anywhere where there's a fucking shark.
Yeah, I know, because you can go at a certain time and like go whale watching, and aren't they migrating the way of the shark?
I don't know. I've never seen a shark.
Me either, but I don't want to be one of the people who does.
No thanks. So no sharks as a pro.
Yeah, no sharks. There are no sharks in the lakes here. However, someone did tell me over the weekend about alligators that swim in lake water. So, in fresh water. So they may have made it up here.
I don't think. Have they really
I've
made
heard
it
there
up
are
here?
snakes in the lakes here.
But I'm not going swimming in natural bodies of water.
Yeah.
Unless it was like if we were hiking and there was like a freshwater creek and
I'm not a big like swimmer outside of pools.
No.
I think even in pools, sometimes I've been in a pool by myself and I've psyched myself up like there's a shark. I have. I'm not lying.
That's such a Chaney thing to do.
Yeah, I know. I do that all the time.
Every day it's like, what the fuck was that? Navene, you have to go look at this. Go look at it. Go check it out.
Because I'm afraid I read too many like true crime books.
And it gets my heart all pumped up and I'm like, all right, fuck.
Right now I'm reading All Be Gone in the Dark, which people should read. I have been telling people about this. I thought everyone knew about the novel, but it's not as well known as I thought. There's a documentary about it on HBO and it's really good. It's by Patton Oswalt's rest in peace, his wife who passed away.
So wait, he wrote the book?
I think he helped construct it.
Okay.
From all of the stuff that she figured out, essentially.
Right. Some true crime
I'm
stuff
only
for
halfway
you.
through it, so I'll report.
Well, you're giving it a recommendation. What if it goes south and sucks?
No, I think it's good. They made a documentary out of it. But anyway, we're short on time today because my best friend is coming into town, which is awesome, but we need to answer some questions.
What? Whoop.
Question time.
Crab. On KoperCrabb.
All right. Ask the question.
There's a couple calls, I think.
There's an email too.
Why don't you wait? Well, let's do the email first. I'll queue up these calls.
All right. So the email is, did I do this one on the last podcast? I don't know. This one's from David Wynn. Hey guys, I have a question for you guys.
I think you did do this one on the last one.
Is it about a regular 5-day-a-week job?
Maybe not. I don't know. Let's do it again.
I have a regular 5-day-a-week, 8 hours a day job that pays well and lets me live a comfortable lifestyle. However, my true passion in life is music. From my point of view as a fan, you guys have a pretty awesome life slash situation where your job is something that fulfills you artistically and financially at the same time. Do you guys ever feel like wanting a regular job that clocks in every day for a steady income but does not fulfill you artistically? Is it a case of the grass is always greener on the other side? Thanks for answering.
So coming from a guy, so it may look like it's all fun and games over here for me, but up until 6 months ago, I was clocking the fuck in.
Same.
So we had jobs in California, and I would work, I don't know, how many hours a day? 10?
Sometimes it was crazy how
crazy
Navene would have to drive like 2 hours to work a lot of days.
And
2 hours from.
Yeah, every freaking day. So it was what I would call pure hell. So no, I do not want to clock in.
Yeah, I mean.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
But anyway, we've got to a point where we've got our expenses really low, and we are now doing enough to live off of all of our different creative avenues
Yeah.
out here in Tennessee, and it's freaking great. And honestly, I would never have it any other way. And really, my advice, my one piece of advice to anyone, and including myself, if I could go back in time, is I feel kind of like I wasted a lot of my life spending so much time working. I think I let it get kind of out of hand. Instead of being like, let me just work enough to just cover the bare necessities and spend the rest of the time doing what I like, or let me work a bunch and buy a cheap house somewhere else where I could do whatever I want, that type of a thing. I look back and I spent so much time just clocking in.
Yeah.
And I'm not about it anymore.
With that being said, it does take money to live. So I think that really, if you, I really think that, like Navene said, a lot of people might be wasting their time doing something that makes them enough money to live when perhaps they're living like over their means in the first place.
That's another huge thing.
So I think that happens a lot. We live in an incredibly materialistic society, a consumer society. You always want to keep up to date on the newest stuff. We need money to live. We have to pay rent. You have to pay your house note or whatever else you pay for.
But don't fall for that trap.
But yeah.
Make sure that you aren't living with over your means.
And
have a shitty car. Have a fucking old phone. Don't do a $1,300 iPhone. Go on eBay and get a $300 iPhone.
Or don't have a car where you have a car note, perhaps.
Don't do that.
Navene and I, there was a car note on our car and there was on our van. However, we paid them off really quickly and now we own both of those vehicles with no, we aren't looking for new cars.
And I think that was, I will say that was a huge benefit to working so much, was that did fund us being able to move here. It did fund all a lot of stuff we have right now.
Also,
these freaking cameras, all kinds of stuff.
The band, we could fund the band from the beginning. Yeah. The band has often earned itself to the point where we can, use that money to reinvest and just invest in the band and to the point that it makes money. But at the beginning of the band, we did have to spend our own money. Yeah. The first time we went to Europe, we maxed out our own credit cards going to Europe, and we had to pay that back.
Yeah, which I don't recommend, by the way.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend that either. When it comes to all of that stuff and when it comes to life in general, I think that something you have to do is actually take note of what you're spending money on.
Yeah, be realistic.
Mm-hmm.
Be realistic. If you want to play death metal, then you're not going to make a ton of money. And that's okay.
Don't get me wrong.
Nothing wrong with that.
There is money in playing.
I know, but I'm talking about, you're not going to be like driving a Tesla. It's not going to happen.
Totally. And there is money in doing it. However, you do have to do what Navene is saying, and you have to figure out all the other parts of your life. Where can you minimize expenses to be able to live and do it at the same time?
Always be on the lookout for, what am I spending money on?
Yeah.
Do I have a $500 car note? That's not helping you play music more.
Right.
Do I have... Some people's cell phone bill is like $400.
Credit cards.
Yeah, credit cards. Buying stuff that you don't need. Don't do it. So I think if you... Once we got in that mindset, and it was probably right around the time we started the podcast, maybe a little bit before,
mm-hmm.
we were like, all right, we're shutting down all this unnecessary spending. We had debt from that European tour, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
We're like, all right, we're going to pay that. We're not going to spend any money. We're going to eat at home only. Pay that off. Then we're going to pay off the van. Then we're going to pay off the freaking car. And then boom, we didn't have any more debts at all.
Yeah. And the only reason that now we can live doing the things that we want are because all of those things are paid off and we're living below our means now.
We have things, you keep the costs low, then the money that you do make can fund what you do.
Yeah, exactly. So now when our band makes money, Like when our band makes money, Navene and I do not take a bunch of money. We take enough money to live, and the rest of it gets reinvested in the band.
Yeah, we pay other people to go and tour
We
with
pay
us.
other people. We're always mindful of all of those things. And before every tour, we have a budget, and we pay a lot of attention to how much money we're spending with the band and how much money is coming in. So really, the way we've been able to do all of that stuff is by just paying attention to those type of things.
And working really hard. I mean, I had a good job in California.
Totally.
You know? So working really hard doing that did fund a lot of stuff. So I'm not talking crap about having a good job and stuff like that. But
absolutely not.
For me personally, now, I mean, I am loosely involved with that business, which is doing motorized shades. I've probably talked about it before. I'm doing it a little bit out here because I have a little bit of connections, but it's not even 1% to 2% of what I was doing out there.
Yeah. With all of this being said, I think that you also have to exist knowing that working and doing what you're doing right now is like a means to an end, because a lot of people get caught in the mindset, well, I've got this, these are my expenses. I can't ever quit my job. It's never going to happen. So it depends on, your will to do it. If you even want to quit your job, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to do in life, you just need to actively be moving toward that. You can't just sit and think about it forever.
Yeah, and it has to add up. Chaney and I lived in a barn for a few years. I don't even know. How long was it? 5 years or something?
Yeah, and there were always people who were like, I don't know how you guys are doing that. But it's like, we did
living
that.
in a barn where you have to go outside to use the bathroom.
We had to like walk in a house to go to the bathroom and do stuff like that. So it was, we lived in a barn for 7 years. That's like,
no shame
that's what's up. No shame whatsoever.
So anyway, I think it's important to note what you're spending money on. And another thing is most stuff that people are trying to get is completely meaningless and worthless to your life anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, so I have like an iPhone. Instead of going and getting a $1,300 iPhone, I just got this, right? I bought it straight outright. It's like, I don't know. It's not the newest one. It's probably 2 models old or whatever. I bought it on eBay. Just paid full price for it. Not paying. Just throw $30 extra on your phone bill every month and pay us for the rest of your life.
Because interest doesn't seem like a lot, but it really adds up. It's crazy.
30 here, 10 there, 15 there.
Yeah.
I mean, dude.
And soon, there are people out there who are making payments on everything they have. I'll pay for this through, American Musical Supply.
Yeah.
I'll pay for my house on this. I'll pay for my car on a note. Everything, credit cards, everything.
And I think
merch, you can do that. Like we can get merch fronted to us.
Which we do that. We get merch fronted to us.
We do. We just pay it really quickly. Yeah. And some of our merch we do not get fronted to us. Like we pay for whatever we can afford. And that's really kind of how you have to go about it.
We want to try to do that. We're always moving towards paying for as much as we can up front.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I mean, I would say the question really wasn't about that. It was, do we want to have a job? And the answer is fuck no.
Yeah. I don't. I want my job to be music. That's what I want.
I don't want any job. I just don't want any job at all, even with music.
Fair enough.
I'm not the most business savvy person. I kind of just like doing what I do, and if money comes from it, that's great. And that's what we're saying.
I enjoy that I can play music and also stay home.
Absolutely.
When I'm home from going on tour.
Yeah.
Because going on tour is a crazy job.
It definitely is.
You're working a lot when you're doing it.
And we're trying to be strategic about, selling stuff online and whatever, but that's fun to me.
Yeah, totally.
I look at it as fun.
Same.
So I would rather view the things in my life that I do as being something that I want to do, and then money is sort of a byproduct. Then I'm doing it for money.
Exactly.
That's what I mean to clarify.
Yeah, same. And I just don't want to have to do things that I don't enjoy doing.
No.
That's really just in all of life. Like I don't want to do things that I don't like to do.
Yeah. And you can put your foot down and just carve out a life where it's like, okay, here's the minimum that I have to do. I'll do whatever I have to make that happen. And after that, I'm doing my own thing. Fuck
Yeah.
that.
Totally.
So that's where we're at.
So I hope that answers your question. All right, you want to answer one more? We might only have time for another. Yeah, we only have time for one more problem.
Okay. Should I play some of these KoperCrabb hotlines?
Yeah.
All right, let's go. I didn't really screen them, so let's see what happens. Shit. I don't know. It's not working.
Chaney, what's going on? You two, I hope everything's all good. Say I'm a fellow newer listener to the podcast. I guess you could say I'm a baby golden crab or golden lobster, whatever you want to call it. That's
You drunk, honey?
Yeah, okay. I think that was a weird drunk call. So that's
Sick.
one. So this is sort of the problem, I guess, with having a hotline.
All right, play the next one.
Okay.
Hope you're welcome to the club.
Thanks for being a golden lobster.
That's right.
A golden corral.
Cheers.
Hey, Chaney. Hey, Navene. My name is Jonathan. I live in Raleigh, North Carolina. I actually had the privilege of seeing you guys on the Tech Check tour in Richmond. I had the chance to meet you guys. Super nice. I want to thank you for your band. I love listening to you guys. Absolutely one of my favorites. Can't wait to see you again next time you come through. My question is, how do you determine what places you stop at on tour? Who actually decides that? I live in Raleigh, like I said. I know you were here years ago. I didn't get a chance to see you then, but I did go to Richmond to see you. So I saw on your upcoming tour you're not coming through North Carolina again, so I was just wondering, how do you determine where you stop and how often you stop somewhere? Thanks, and I hope to see you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you. Thanks for coming out to that show.
Hey, Chaney.
That was a sick show also. That was my favorite show we've ever played in Richmond.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was awesome.
We've got like a bunch of pictures from that show.
Totally. Yeah, that was a good show.
That's
There's
actually
video, too.
that's a good question.
Great question.
And it's because there's kind of a meme. It's not an actual meme, but it's like a meme within the band community that there'll always be someone on a post who's like, come to Brazil or come to this place, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
And a lot of people don't really know how it works. So, Chaney, you wanna hit them off to
So
what
the way
happens?
that it works, every band, well, not every band has a booking agent, but most of the bands in the like touring circuit have a booking agent, right? So booking agents, you get an offer, either you're a headlining band or you get an offer to play on the headlining band's tour, right? So booking agents speak to each other and work that out. So the booking...
So the booking agents have what's known as a roster
Right.
of bands.
A roster,
I should
yes.
mention that.
Ours works at TKO, which is a booking agency. So essentially so these booking agents, they'll submit you for tours, and sometimes you get picked for tours that way. Sometimes the headlining band just wants you to be on the tour and sends you an offer. So you get picked for a tour. How do they get booked? This is all in the hands of the headlining band's booking agent. So that booking agent will reach out to promoters across the country, across any like massive land that they want the shows to be booked in. And they'll say, hey, they'll come up with routing, right? So usually the tours will start where the headlining band is from or near that area.
And then there'll be like a proposed amount of dates they want to do, like an ideal situation.
Right.
They'd say, June 1st is in, let's say it started in Nashville. June 1st is in Nashville. Then it's going to go to Atlanta. Then it's going to go to, and this isn't actually booked. This is just how they want it to go.
Right. And that's what they send to you in the offer.
Exactly.
So they will then take that routing, which is what Navene was just talking about, and they'll send out emails to promoters around the area of which they want to book the show on any given date. They usually have promoters in every area that they go to. They just go directly to that promoter. You kind of get in with a booking agent, and then you're their promoter in that area. If you do well in the first show or the shows, I'm assuming. So then the promoter, when the booking agent is reaching out to the promoter, they'll say, "Hey, here are the bands that I want to book. Here are here's the money that I want for the tour." And the promoter will either accept because they want the tour, or they'll deny it because they don't think they can come up with the money. They don't have a date in the area. They don't have an open venue in the area on the night that the person wants, etc. So it's between the booking agent and the general promoter of the area. But every tour has different routing because, no one wants to hit the same area a million times in one year. There's all kinds of strategic stuff involved in it like that. Where has this band played before? There are A markets and B markets. Sometimes you'll be on an A market tour that's going to hit, Chicago, New York City, San Francisco, Portland, every main place. And then sometimes you'll be on more of a B market tour that's hitting somewhere like Horseheads, New York, which is where we're going on the Oceano tour, because it's more of routing dates to get you to somewhere.
Yeah, or sometimes people just do. Maybe they just did a tour that hit the major cities. Mm-hmm. Okay, now we want to go back out and we want to do the small cities.
Exactly.
That kind of happens.
Totally.
So they strategically look at those proposed areas that they want to go to, and then when the dates actually get finalized, it's always different. Maybe they couldn't have Atlanta, so it's in Nashville. Maybe they couldn't get Nashville, so it's in Louisville, Kentucky, or Knoxville, or whatever.
Or Louisville. A lot of the time, also, if you're on one tour, you'll have what's called why is the name escaping me
radius.
Right now? A radius clause. You'll be under a radius clause. So what that means is that if you have a show booked in Nashville, for instance, and it's next April, you may have a radius clause that says you cannot play in Nashville or within 150 miles of Nashville until 30 days after the show has been completed. So
most tours have that when you accept it. It means
absolutely
you can't play anywhere near these cities until well after this tour is done.
And if you're going to, you can't announce it.
Yeah, sometimes you can work it out where, hey, well, we got this one show and we really want to do it, and you kind of just, to be nice, you clear it and say, hey, well, we won't announce it till after the tour, or whatever, something like that. Because obviously that makes sense. It's going to hurt the tour. So there is a lot that goes into it. It's hard to get every single date you want on the exact day.
Oh, for sure.
But the bands don't do that.
No,
they kind of just show up. Especially if you're a support band, you literally just say, "Where's the first show?" Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, it's all in the hands of the booking agent. For instance, on the Oceano tour, when we got the offer for it, there was a Nashville date, and we were going to have an off day in Nashville after, and that didn't end up being on the final routing. So everything
is a huge bummer.
Yeah, I know, because we would have loved to be in Nashville for a day off. But everything is subject to change when you accept a tour offer. Whether it's everything from the cities you play to maybe the bands that you're playing with. Maybe one of the bands drops off. Everything's subject to change.
Yeah, it's really it's not up in the air, but things get shifted around a lot before it actually happens.
All the time.
All the time.
Usually a lot of that happens before we as bands get the ad mat, which is what an ad mat is like a tour poster that you'll see be distributed on the internet. We all are given like a packet of that kind of stuff from the headlining band, and you'll get like a Facebook cover photo and a tour poster and this and that.
And it's like, hey, we're going to announce Tuesday at 10 a.m. Yeah. You need to post this.
So usually like on tours we've done, we haven't even known who the actual bands were going to be on tour with us except for the headlining band, until like a day before we announced the tour. So everything's kind of, just subject to change.
Or
all the time.
A band, is coming from out of the country and they can't get in, or, so things change a lot. And
all the time.
And I get it. A lot of bands complain, including me, about sometimes you'll have to drive really far or whatever. But I do get the other side that you're not always going to just be able to line a perfect line across the country and say, yep, I'm getting this day on Tuesday, this day on Wednesday. You know, they have to book shows for bands when they're in places with not a whole lot of places to play.
Yeah.
And you need a place to play, and sometimes it's not on the way.
Right.
That's just how it is.
I mean, keep in mind how many shows there are going on throughout the world, throughout the country at any given time. How many... Especially now. And it's not just metal or rock or, you know, it's pop and folk and indie and all of this stuff. So it's a huge, like, network of things that are working around each other and just trying to, like...
Right.
Yeah,
almost every venue isn't like a metal venue. They have all types of shows.
Right. So yeah, it's a huge thing that goes down, and Navene and I have absolutely nothing to do with it.
Ever.
And yeah, ever at all.
So when you come up and say, "Hey, how come you didn't play?" Blah blah, blah, I'm like, well,
or if you say, "Hey, my band would like really love to open this show in this place," we have nothing to do with that.
I guess we could, if we were like really gonna go above and beyond. Like put in a word,
or maybe
you'd have to be like the headliner.
The headlining band. The headlining band could do that for
if
sure.
we're second on the tour, we're not gonna be like, hey, we want our friends to play in Kansas City.
No one's gonna listen to us, and we won't get another tour.
We'll be known as annoying.
But yeah, that's how it works. We never. I mean, if it were up to us, we'd play like all of our favorite cities, and we'd have a day off. We'd play the same city for like 3 days straight, and then have a day off to hang out.
There we go. Now we're talking. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Let's make that happen.
But anyway, all right. I think we're out of time for this week.
Yeah, we got to go to the airport, huh?
Love y'all. Have a good week. Call in to the podcast. Give us your questions.
Yeah.
Have a good one.
All right. We will see you motherfuckers next week. Have a great week and a great weekend.
And a great 4th of July.
Oh, shit. That's going to be a good time.
Set off some fireworks.
Peace.